Oh, I have to add myself. Sorry. This is what happens when I don't geek. Anyway, guys, sorry about that. Did my classic annual no sound start stream. What's up? um I hadn't said too much so far. So we're here at Bristol, 500 laps, beautiful track. Uh like I was saying, it's basically just going to be Hendrick versus JGR here. Um the two top teams. Hendrick plus 125, JGR plus 200. I mean, Penske, they're usually a bit closer than this, the top Fords, but pretty much a nothing for Hendrick and JGR. So, yeah, I guess what I was saying that you guys couldn't hear because, this is what happens when Geek ain't around. This is the sequel to last spring's ridiculous tire shredding race. And it seems to be more of the same based on what we've seen in practice. The tires cording like crazy. And the veterans, and especially like JGR, being extremely strong. This is pretty much going to be the Kyle Larson versus Denny Hamlin show up front. So you've got Hendrick as the favorite here. Although if you looked at last spring's race here, you'd figure it would be JGR. But I mean, Kyle Larson's fall performance at Bristol kind of put him front and center here. But I'd have the real favorite as Denny Hamlin, honestly. So we'll break into that. But I was saying any other team plus plus 1,000 as the fourth favorite. That's how you know something's a little fucked up here. But it's really just going to be Hendrick versus Joe Gibbs. You can see Chevrolet minus 110 to win this race. Mostly thanks to Larson, but also Bowman sitting on the pole. Ford just kind of happy to be there. 8.5 caution prop. I guess pretty standard, not too high for a track with a bunch of kerfuffles going on. High traffic sort of track. So that's all I was really saying in that intro there. Sorry about that, guys. Let's go into historical here. Let's look specifically at that race, the 2024 spring race. We'll sort it by starting position, right? So Ryan Blaney gets the pole, does absolutely nothing with it. We see the JGR Toyotas, Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr., and then Ty Gibbs was up there for a good amount of this race. Led 137 laps. Those were the big three last season. So not having Truex in there is that's probably why the Chevys and Hendrick are the favorite to win this week. Because Briscoe, while good, isn't going to be nearly as awesome at tire management as a Martin Truex Jr. would be. If Truex was in this race, he would be probably one of the favorites as well here. But it was just all Denny Hamlin from the get-go. I mean, I guess not from the get-go. A lot of it was Ty Gibbs, right? But it was just co-domination there, and Truex was just kind of hanging up front. And we also saw Christopher Bell lead lap. So the four top lap leaders were all four JGR cars. So JGR utter domination in this race last year. And we saw, I mean, just looking at the percentage of laps completed, we had a total of 5 people on the lead lap. So yeah, kind of crazy there. And then the highest scores did end up being, of course, Hamlin and Ty Gibbs. You needed them. Chris Buescher coming from 34th and finishing 7th. He's had an incredible record here. He was good. Bowman was super impressive starting towards the rear. Looked like one of the absolute best cars towards the end of the race there. You had Kyle Larson finishing up there in 5th, but he was too expensive. Keselowski, another solid performance from him. He ended up in 3rd. John Hunter Nemechek, someone who's going to be big this week, with an impressive 6th place finish starting back in 26th. So it looks like a lot of place differential mixed with just all the JGRs you could get pretty much. Looking at just all of the next gen races. So we have 5 of them because we had 2 last year, and we had 1 each of the previous seasons because of the Bristol dirt race taking over this one. So that spring race is going to be the most important one to look at. But of course, we have the Kyle Larson Masterclass last race here, 462 lead laps. I don't think we see this again. There's no way. Sorry, Kyle Larson is good, but like, Denny Hamlin's certainly going to factor in here. Even Bowman's going to lead a good handful up front. I just severely doubt we see this again. We saw that Chris Buescher win from the first year in the next gen car, starting 20th, dominating the race. Yeah, that's going to score you a bunch of points. So there will be 100+ point scores, which means there will be 11K dudes. So the price is jacked up here. As you can see, Larson super fast in practice. Another reason why he is currently the favorite over Hamlin. And the odds when this slate broke open, it was really it was really funny just seeing the haves and have not. Literally just the field cut in half. Half the field in it to win it. Other half of the field participating. There have been some big shakeups, including probably the biggest odd shifts I've ever seen in NASCAR. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. going from 170 to 23 because of a crazy practice and qualifying second. That's something. It's interesting. And we'll get to him. And then, of course, Ross Chastain looking fucking horrible, going from 29 all the way down to 70 there. Ryan Preece also miserable in practice. So dropping from 20 to 1 to 60 to 1. But for the most part, there's still a bit of an odds cliff around this area. And you're pretty much going to be punting down low to afford as many of these expensive guys as you can. You're going to want to stack together 11K guys in a lot of lineups because Hamlin and Larson are just the class of the field here. So it's going to be a matter of the crappers and who we pick here. There's obviously one that's going to be a bit higher than everyone else, but we'll go through everyone and give a fair shot here. This week I added something to the recent finishes section here. I just went with recent high tire wear finishes because the tire wear is going to be so incredibly important here. And you can see Denny Hamlin fucking rules. So there's that. Another reason why I think he should be the favorite here. He's also coming in off of 2 straight wins. But Kyle Larson probably going to be the highest owned to get the $100 savings, but he's also clearly the odds-on favorite and crushed it in practice. So I guess we'll just start by talking about Mr. Denny Hamlin, Mr. Kyle Larson, or actually, hold on, before we do that, of course, DK average by start, very important tab we like to look at each week. I've limited it to only the next gen races. So of course we see the guys up front doing pretty fucking well, but it's for a short track, we usually we'll see a way more, like this kind of spread. But with Bristol, with the number of cautions, the traffic, the ability to pass here at this track, we have seen some place differential guys score pretty well. So it's not like a Martinsville where it's just going to be like, hey, play guys from the very, very front. The same with like, Richmond or whatnot. These guys starting out back, if they're good, they're going to find ways to pass. There are multiple grooves here. They've added the PJ1 to the inside groove, and it's going to take a while for it to kick in. And then the outside groove, like riding the wall, isn't going to be as good as it usually would be because there's just, chunks of tire everywhere we saw from practice. And that's going to mean, a high evolution track. So the lines are going to be changing and moving around. So even though it's a steep track, it's not necessarily going to be, who's good at riding the wall here or who's good at working the PJ1 on the inside. It's really who's good at adapting, managing their tires, and figuring out how to get their way around here. It's going to be a heavy veteran presence here. I think the old guard is going to do quite well here. So, I mean, Denny Hamlin, kind of the poster child of that, but some other guys that are really good at conserving their tires and just managing races are going to factor in here. So Hamlin and Larson kind of don't need to make too much of a case for them. They're just the best. Hamlin fucking awesome when there's high tire wear. That's just his bread and butter. Coming off 2 straight wins, including Darlington last week, which is another big high tire wear track. We've also got like Homestead, Bristol, Richmond, and Dover in here. Dover, another one to look at. Also concrete, also high tire wear. But yeah, he won that one too. He's just awesome. And then the odds-on favorite here, Larson, best in practice. We just saw him pretty much recreate his fall race last year in the Xfinity race yesterday. So, I mean, these two are the class of the field. The question is, how do you afford them? For the rest of the field here, before I get into this, another thing I noticed is so odds wise, Larson is the favorite to win. But if we look at like Price Picks and Pick Six on DraftKings when they opened for the props, they're actually giving Hamlin like 100+ lead laps, and they're giving Larson like 70, 75, which is pretty interesting. So the prop sites seem to really be on Team Hamlin this morning, but the Vegas sports books are going Larson for the win. So a little interesting discrepancy there. Both have been awesome in the next gen car here. Larson with the insane performance last fall, Hamlin back-to-back wins in the 2023 fall race, and of course this spring race 2024. Another reason I'm giving him the edge here is, Larson had that ridiculous performance in the fall, but this is going to be a lot more like the spring race last year, and that's the only spring race we've had in the next gen car because of the Bristol dirt race that replaced it for a few years. So going to look to Hamlin overall over Larson here just a bit, but they're both obviously smash plays. As for the rest of the guys up in this range, Ryan Blaney is just simply overpriced. He kind of sucks at Bristol. If we go over here and look, let's only averaging 4.7 lead laps in the next gen, 10.3 fast laps. That's just not going to cut it. So Blaney, kind of a Doris sort of unfriend you sort of play. He's been really, really good this season. Obviously super fast, good at the long run speed and all, but this just isn't really a good place for him. We didn't see him do well in this package at Martinsville and Phoenix. Granted, those are flatter tracks, so kind of take these with a grain of salt, but just not really where we're looking to attack Blaney here. And I'm just surprised he's priced up so high, because there's some other drivers in this field that, are pretty, not bad, but not great at Bristol, who are kind of priced appropriately. Like you got Tyler Reddick priced way down. And, like a Ross Chastain or like they've got Ty Gibbs like priced up because he's really good at Bristol. But Blaney, I mean, he's been priced up here all season, and he hasn't had the best finishes, but he's had fast cars. But this is a really just too high of a price for Blaney in this spot. Should have been Bell third highest. So Bell is going to be the clear play, I think, over Blaney here. The two races we've seen in this package so far this season, Bell and Hamlin have finished 1 and 2. Bell and the next gen here, all top 10 finishes, 3 top 5 finishes for Bell here. And then, of course, he's led a bunch of laps too, averaging 89.8 lead laps. I think he dominated the absolute crap out of the 2022 and 2023 fall races back to back. So he's got to be the third dog here behind Hamlin and Larson. Blaney just not a very good play. You'd prefer him at a flatter track. And then Byron also not that impressive at Bristol, and starting back in 26th. I mean, how often do we get Byron starting back in 26th? Well, this just isn't the place to do big place differential. And if you are, you may as well go to Logano starting almost dead last. So it puts Byron in a really weird spot. And it's hard to afford him and then also get your top dogs here. So another guy that's going to probably just go really overlooked. And then you've got Elliott, who's kind of a better version of Byron, not starting as far back, but he's just pretty awesome at Bristol in the next gen. Just overall, really good in this package. We've seen he's pretty much always a top 10 guy. He should push forward. Surprised that Byron's the favorite over Elliott going in here. He really shouldn't be. I think Elliott's got way more of a chance to win this than Byron does, but whatever. You've got Logano starting in last, and then the cheaper version of Logano here, Ross Chastain, started making 35th. I don't like Chastain as much personally, because when tire wear comes into effect, he's not as good. He hasn't been winning these high tire wear races and tends to shred his tires a bit. We saw him practice, struggled pretty mightily, and these odds drop-offs are kind of insane. This is where Logano, his odds stayed about the same despite, just flubbing his qualifying lap and just saying fuck it and starting from the rear. He has had a horrible run at Bristol, with his best finish being 22nd in 4 next-gen races, but, due for a little regression there. I kind of want to be under on both of them because I'm really just, with 500 laps to go around, I'm really just focused on that. So yeah, Logano and cash, sure. Although I'm not even playing him in my cash lineup, as crazy as that sounds. I'm just going triple dominator and just praying for the best. It's kind of a weird week, so I'm not big on these guys starting back in the 30s. It has worked in the past. We saw it from the DK average by start tab. I'm just not really going there this week. I think people are going to over-own them a touch. Maybe I could see these percentages being a bit higher if people play it weird, but you really should be attacking the guys starting up front who have a chance to get these lead laps. And yeah, so you've got a low-owned range here with Chase Briscoe and Kyle Busch. So Kyle Busch, the odds guys love him because, he used to do this at this track, right? But then the next-gen car came, and he's looking like Joey Logano, like his best finish is 20th. And just overall in this package, RCR has looked fucking horrible. Practice time is not impressive. So I don't believe these odds. I'm not a big Kyle Busch supporter at all. Briscoe is interesting because in Stewart Haas equipment, he's like fine here. He's like top 15 dude. But now he's in JGR equipment. He's in the Martin Truex Jr. car that, sure, he's no Martin Truex Jr. And he's still, having to take some time to adjust to things. But it's still a JGR Toyota in a race like this where JGR just absolutely destroyed it here in the spring. So Chase Briscoe definitely playable. I would probably play him for like a low ownership, single entry, 3 entry kind of pivot play up high. And I would prefer him over Kyle Busch here, even though both of them are going to be pretty low owned. Chastain, kind of talked about him already. Bubba Wallace is interesting. He's starting to really get priced up to where he should be. Very concerning practice times, but, not bad at Bristol. Just finished 3rd here last time and also finished 3rd at Martinsville a few weeks ago. High tire wear. He's had some top 5 finishes here. So I don't mind it overall. I don't see why his odds drop that much. Kind of starting in an awkward spot here. I would put him as, just an all right play in this range, but he's really getting priced up to about where he should be. And then Ty Gibbs, yeah. So he's kind of come back into form after this, whatever this was. We can kind of start to safely ignore that, I guess. Top 10 at a high tire wear track last week at Darlington. And, of course, last season, we can look to just his runs here. Ty Gibbs. Didn't do a whole lot in that fall race, but absolutely crushed it here in that spring race that we're looking to pretty heavily, and even led over 100 laps in the 2023 fall race. So this is a place where he can pop off. $8,400. I have not been a Ty Gibbs supporter throughout this this whole season, really, or that stretch of form where he's been just miserable. This might be where I get on. He's starting up there in 6th for cheap, $8,400. He's led laps here multiple times in the last few years. I say give me some Ty Gibbs. And I also say give me some of my Baja Blast. Give me a second here. Thank you, Taco Bell. Taco loves his Taco Bell. Now I'm feeling refreshed. I'm ready to talk about my boy, Chris Buescher, who's been pretty awesome here in the next-gen car. Won the debut of the next-gen car here in 2022 in dominating fashion, and also in the spring race last year. Finished 7th, and he started in the rear and finished 7th and was optimal. Really nice run here. I would say that RFK has been in questionable form this season overall. Practice time's not great, and his teammates' practice times are whatever this is. Yikes. But hear me out. Where's he at? Buescher. Pretty awesome overall. A lot of top 10 upside here. Did finish 5th at Phoenix in this package. So there's some kind of form here. Had kind of a rough go at it late last season in this package, whatever. But high tire wear, good top 10 upside. Starting back in 24th for $8,300. I like this play. I think it's neat. And it's easy to compare him to Tyler Reddick, who's another kind of place differential play, price down the low 8K range. I don't think he's very good at this track, but he is good at like the high tire wear tracks. I think it's because a lot of them are wall riding tracks like Homestead, Darlington, and it just kind of suits him. But I don't know. He's all right. So I'm back in 27th. I think people will. I think Buescher will barely be higher owned because people will see. He's won here. He's been really good here. Reddick did have better practice times though, and he has better odds going into this. So could kind of go either way. I prefer Buescher here, but Reddick's also not a bad play because he's priced down significantly. And I think that will put that in his starting position will push his ownership a bit over Buescher. And honestly, for like a fourth option, either of these guys are fine. Alex Bowman, starting on the pole, was super impressive last year. So last year in this race, I watched all of it. Of course, I remember I was at a friend's house, and he was rooting for Bowman the whole time. So we were paying extra attention to Mr. Alex Bowman. And yeah, JGR clearly had an advantage on the rest of the field. That's fine. They were out there doing their thing. But Bowman was, started in the rear, started like 29th, and he was just really impressive the whole race, just pushing forward. As all the other cars got slower, it just seemed like he got faster. And he was one of those 5 guys that ended up on the lead lap and had a really good run at it. Best 20 lap run speed in practice for Mr. Alex Bowman. Turn that into a pole position. He's got his teammate Larson behind him. And yeah, having Hamlin and Larson behind you is really intimidating. That, is going to suck. But a pole sitter for 8K who's really good and was really good at this track last year in the very specific race that we're looking for. Overall, pretty solid at the high tire wear tracks as well. Just had that runner-up finish at Homestead this year. Really like Bowman for a cheap dominator, and he allows you to open up your lineup at all. So starting with like Bowman Larson, Bowman Hamlin, really good way to go about things this week. It keeps the price down after spending up so much on a dominator. Having a cheap dominator like this at a 500 lap track with a 150 or I think it's like 125 lap opening stage. Yeah, it's not bad for take an $8,000 pole sitter here. I do like me some Alex Bowman, and I think he can hang all race. And then Keselowski, another guy that was super impressive. Finished even a spot above Bowman last year at this tire shredding race. A savvy veteran. There's a lot to like here with Keselowski. Obviously, was not able to finish any of the races at Martinsville or Phoenix so far in this package, and kind of a really dodgy form in this package overall, and even the high tire wear tracks, very questionable. But his performance in this race specifically last spring puts him in play for me here. Although the odds makers kind of decided to start hating him last night, going from 29 to 41, despite him qualifying somewhat decently. Interesting. Still like this play a lot, and I think he'll go under own. I don't think people are really big on Keselowski right now because the form's not really there. But I don't mind it at all. I know Brady is in love with his play, and that's kind of a good sign for somebody. Josh Berry, he started on the front row here last year in this race and kind of fell backwards. Not too sure of what to make of him. Of course, you like him at the shorter tracks over the bigger tracks, but had a good run at Phoenix. But overall, at the high tire wear tracks, hasn't been that impressive outside of a third at Darlington last season. Starting up at 11th, he's going to need to go up there and find a way to be up front. I don't know if that's really in the cards for him this week. The practice times weren't looking great either, so not really sure what to make of Josh Berry. Probably going to mostly avoid him. And then Ryan Preece starting all the way back in 29th. Fucking awesome at this track. Right, so he's got to be in play, surely. Yeah, he dropped off a lot from 20 to 60 to 1 odds and had the worst practice times. It's hard to really blame people for having awful practice times with such a weird setup and tire situation that we've got going on here. I don't know what to make of this. I'm sure they'll make some adjustments and figure it out because Priest is good at this track. So it's a little concerning seeing his practice times being that bad. But starting back in 29th, there's a ton of upside here. I had top 15 runs at both of the races we've had so far in this this package so far this season, and a lot of top 15 runs last season into this season, like top 12 runs at high tire wear tracks. I think he'll be fine. $7,500, not a bad place differential play at all. Austin Cindric, we saw Penske not being as great in the odds as the two must-have teams here, JGR and Hendrick this week. I think a lot of it's because Blaney kind of struggles here, but Cindric, his best finish ever here, 13th. Struggled really bad last season in this this spring race with the tires. I don't know. Not big on Cindric in this spot. McDowell has incredible track history here. And granted, this is with Front Row Motorsports, but like, damn. Damn. Outside of this track, he hasn't really been that incredible at the high tire wear tracks. But, just had a 12th at Martinsville. Looked fine. Inspire. Yeah, starting 13th, he's going to kind of need to hang there. If he just does what he's been doing at this track, sure. But the practice times were pretty shitty. So, it's kind of a hard sell for me. But a way easier fade, even though his odds are like really, really good right now. Carson Hocevar starting 9th. I don't want these young, aggressive drivers at a track where we've got to conserve tires. So just not really feeling Hocevar there. No host in his house today, for me at least. Gragson, pretty fast in practice overall, starting back there in 31st. This is the range where you got to start to find ways to afford people up high. And, doesn't look like that great of a play on paper, but overall, I mean, he's the second highest value projected player of anyone under 7K. So definitely worth consideration there. Don't mind the practice times. These high tire wear tracks, like he's barely getting top 20s. I guess we'll take that starting 31st for 69. Daniel Suarez fucking sucks in practice and it fucking sucks at this track. My God, this was in JGR quit. Like he's ass. So I'm not playing Suarez. Sorry, unfriend you. Eric Jones also, yeah, pretty good, better equipment. Not so much in the next gen era. My God, yeah, looking like looking like Joey Logano and Kyle Busch. Just can't really break the top 20 here. I love me some Eric Jones. And yeah, in this range, starting 28th, maybe playable, but he's dropped to 250 from 130 opening. Not really feeling it here. Hasn't done much in the package. Allmendinger starting too high sucks. I have some high hopes for him overall in the season, but this just doesn't seem like a spot you could really take him. All right, the most interesting play on the slate probably Ricky Stenhouse Jr. for $6,500. Yeah, you thought Bowman was a cheap dominator. Stenhouse at $6,500 has the fastest car on the track. What the fuck? Yeah, I don't know. Bro used to be amazing at this track. It goes back even years before this. Like he used to be fucking awesome, and he just had this stretch of form. He was like, I'm never finishing a race ever again. Saw a flash in 2023, but yeah, he mostly just wrecks out here, right? Very aggressive. He has a fucking hot rod though, I guess. So can maybe take him and Hail Mary 360 between the legs, fade away, fucking Steph Curry 30-foot jumper type lineups. I don't know how else to describe it besides that. Yeah, Bowman just fucks up the restart, and Stenhouse just actually does have a fast car, and he dominates stage one, and everyone's pulling their hair out. Like you got to make some of those lineups if you're mass multi-entering. Like you kind of got to. You can't just be like, oh, Stenhouse starting a second, unfriend. Granted, most of the time that is how it's gonna work. But you can see, like, the dude struggles so bad at high tire wear tracks. Like, he's not good. It's just, the practice speeds followed up by qualifying. I don't know. The car is clearly fast. He's a He's not the kind of person you would want handling a car this fast at a track like this with such ridiculous tire fall off. So 99% of the time, the dude's going to fall off and just suck ass here. But you got to account for that like 1 to 3% of the time chance that he actually just has like a super fast car, or he's cheating or something, or he just dominates stage 1 and then just finishes like okay. Like, you got to prepare for that just in case, because 6,500 is mad cheap for someone that could possibly lead 100 laps in stage 1. Like, that's ridiculous. Moving on down, some pretty easy avoids here. Zane Smith, Austin Dillon starting a little bit too high. Decent finishes in the package or whatever, but I'm not really crazy here. I think Zane Smith is kind of underrated at like high tire wear tracks, because like the 4 races we've seen so far that we're looking at this season, the ones in this package, the ones in the high tire wear environments, actually pretty good for Zane Smith, but it's where they qualified well and dropped from 100 to 1 to 250 to 1. Just slow practice times, I guess. But starting 18th, it's going to be hard for these guys to do much. Gilliland starting in 30th. We've seen front row, like this car specifically, a front row, have great success with Michael McDowell here. But he's not Michael McDowell. He's not Michael McDowell either. And yeah, starting in 30th, he's going to be playable just because there's so many shitty plays in this range. And we're not really playing like Stenhouse like that. Jones is meh. Like, this is the first like okay play we've seen since like Gregson. So outside of like a John Hunter Nemechek, who we're all going to be piling onto this week, like, I guess you got to play some Gilliland. Top 10 at Martinsville, top 20 at Phoenix. Yeah, he's someone that you've got to consider here, just because of the lack of options, and you need to go down this low. Like, you kind of have to. Justin Haley starting top 10. Yikes. Fast in practice, but yikes. John Hunter Nemechek. All right, so this spring race last year, bro finishes 6th. Incredible. Incredible in practice as well. Starting back in 32nd. Smash play. I mean, he's going to be chalky down low, but what I've noticed is that whenever there's someone that's really good down low, they're never that chalky, like maybe it could be like in the 30s ownership wise, but like I'm just gonna play bro in like the 60% of my lineups. Like, he just looks so much better than everyone else. And granted, yeah, woof. Right, woof. I mean, just yeah, overall not that great. It's just that spring performance was amazing with this exact tire and setup and situation. And odds, despite him qualifying 32nd, jump from 250 to 100 overnight. Practice time's incredible. You gotta just kind of roll with it, because there are no other good options here. And I when you compare him to everyone else in this range, he is just so much better. And he starts back in 32nd. Like, that's pretty damn safe. Cole Custer sucks this season. Like, it's been bad. This team sucks, but the practice times were not terrible. He did finish top 10 kind of technically last time he was at this track, but it was in the last gen car. So, I don't want to have to play a lot of Custer, but you're going to kind of end up playing him, because it's like Custer versus like Gilliland and Austin Dillon, like Cody Ware. Like, those are the guys you're comparing him to. So it's like, fine, you'll play him in a handful of lineups. It's whatever, because you don't want to play SVG his first time at a track. He's been kind of awful in this package. Like, fuck these practice times. Like, I don't believe in SVG here, really. I mean, maybe a little bit, just he's starting in the very back and there could be carnage. He could survive it, whatever, but Ty Dillon. Love Ty Dillon this year. He's been fucking awesome. Unfortunately, starting 12th. Can't do it. That's ridiculous. Maybe on Fanduel, but not in Draftkings. And then Jesse Love. What a fucking race to debut at. What a race to debut at. And he overqualified too on top of that. Like, this makes for a really fucking horribly projecting play. I'm sorry. This third RCR car has not been good with Austin Hill. Jesse Love's never touched a next gen car. And the transition from Xfinity to next gen car can be very tricky. I have absolutely no hope for Jesse Love whatsoever here. I mean, long term, sure, but this race, absolutely not. And then Corey LaJoy, really interesting play, because he's not bad at this track. Like, he used to be really bad, but like a top 15 back in 2022 in this next gen car, 21st, even like 25th in that 21st in that spring race last year. It's like, that's not bad. It was Inspire Equipment, of course, before he made the switch with Justin Haley midseason. And when he did, I saw 36th in the fall race. So might be looking at that kind of situation here. Barely took practice laps, but like starting back in 37th for 54, he's the kind of play you gotta just sort of punt, just to get Hamlin and Larson together. Like, you want to make a Hamlin, Larson, Bell lineup or something, you're gonna have to like play a Corey LaJoie type play. So sure, I guess. I mean, I'd rather have them than Riley Herbst, who I think just blows chunks. And that's kind of my analysis on him. Cody Ware, his one race here in the next gen car too, 17th. I mean, pissing people off, but like, hey, okay. I mean, the practice times are bad. Everything else looks pretty bad. His odds are even with Bilicki right now. They shouldn't be because Bilicki's ass, but whatever. I think he's borderline playable, and then Bilicki is not playable. He fucking sucks. There we go. That's the slate broken down. And we did it in 40 minutes. So I wish that Geek and Brady are here, but that's what happens. You get a taco lineup. You get a taco podcast. You get the fast, precise breakdown here. So overall, winner pick. It's gonna be Dennis Hamlin gets 3 in a row, and then he goes into next week trying to do what Bell could not do. You get that 4th win in a row. I know it's not the sexiest pick, but I nailed him last week, and I don't see how Hamlin doesn't win this shit unless Larson just, is better. But I don't know. I think this is just Denny's race to lose personally. And there you have it. I got some leverage plays I'm kind of looking at just compared to ownership. I think Chase Elliott could be a leverage play. I think going under on Logano and Chastain, their ownerships, is some leverage here. Ty Gibbs. Hey, man. Give me some leverage on Ty Gibbs. Fuck it. I haven't been on there yet. This is where I'm going to put the flag down and say sure. Chris Buescher. I like over leverage on him. Priest. His ownership could be higher, could be lower. It could be all over the place. With the big odds shift, it's kind of hard to cap the ownership here, but I think he'll be fine. So I don't mind going over on him and all. And of course, going just way over on Nemechek. I love this chalk, and I hope that he comes in like 24% or something. I'm just wrong, but like he should be like 40% owned, but I don't think people will do that is the thing. So there you go. My best leverage is right there. Hell yeah. Let's get some helmets up top, boys. And I forgot. Arbing is fun. I've been doing this. I think we're supposed to use code founders. I don't know if it's still going on. I feel like I'm just trying to fill in for Geek here, but I've been arbing every day, and it's been fucking awesome. If you don't know what this is on our sister site, sharp.app, and you get access to the arbitrage tool, and it's fucking sick. I'm not a big sportsbook enjoyer. I have always told people for years. I mentioned I'm in the sports gambling industry. They're like, "Oh, do you like to bet on the sports books?" And I'm like, my answer would always be only if there's arbitrage to kind of get out of the conversation. Well, now I don't have any reason not to book or to sports books here. Like it's pretty straightforward here. Go to this book, bet $10 in Kyle Kuzma under 26.5 points, rebounds, assists. Go on this sports book, bet $9 on the over. It's plus 100 here, plus 130 here. You're guaranteed to either win $1 or $1.70. Like you play both sides so that you win. It's sick. It's just sports betting, but without the risk. You can see it live, updating a bajillion calculations in real time. It's super duper fast. Once you get the hang of it, it is really consistent, safe money. I've been steadily increasing my bankroll across all the sites just using this. It's been a really fucking awesome tool. So I think it's code founders for the first 100 members to get in the door of the arbitrage tool. So there's my a marketing plug. And of course, if you want to hop in DFS Army, promo code TACO gets you that lifetime 10% off. And you can join all the rest of us on the top of the leaderboards in your local DraftKings and Fanduel daily fantasy NASCAR lineups. You see us all over the place. Come join us, pull up for our notes or a domination station optimizer, and of course, hop in the chat with the rest of us as we, go through the races every single time. Going crazy. And there you go. That was the picture I was looking for. Someone just posted in the Discord there, the Ryan Preece picture of his tire. Why you look so fucking bad. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be a crazy race. So be careful. Don't go too hard on any one guy unless you're me. And then you just play a bunch of John Hudson Nemechek, and it will go the same way that me going all in on Brennan Poole yesterday before he blows up and runs into someone. But yeah, just be careful about that because this is going to be a bit of a clusterfuck if it's anything like last year's race, which probably will be. Looking at these tires, probably will be. So have fun out there. Helmets up, and you guys take it easy. And I'll see you guys next week.
Big time, knowing that.